Hi and welcome to SBR Picks. I'm your host, Nadia Host. Opening night of the NHL season is less than a month away. The NHL odds are posted for the opening night of the season, which will take place on Wednesday, October 8th. With me today is professional handicapper Dave Golokoff to take a look at these 4 games and tell us where we can find some real value. Dave, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Excellent. So let's get right into it. The Canadiens and the Maple Leafs are 2 of the biggest rivals in the NHL. What's your pick on this game and how's it looking?
Well, I think whenever I see these 2 teams play, I just sort of gravitate to the underdog. You have, the Canadiens are the better team in my books. They have a better goaltender, better defense, and the offense, maybe a slight lean to Toronto, but in these matchups, everything is pretty much a wash. It's just a big rivalry, original 6 teams. We saw that Toronto went into Montreal and won the season opener last year. I think the Habs returned the favor here. Like I said, I typically go with the road team because they're the underdog, and road teams do pretty well in this series. In this particular spot, again, Habs better goalie, as good or slightly worse offense, better defense. I'm perfectly happy taking Montreal in this spot. With a discount since they're on the road.
Right, and Philadelphia Flyers at Boston Bruins. The Bruins won all 3 meetings last season, outscoring the Flyers 15-6. What's your pick for this game and why?
Well, I think Boston is probably the pick on the side, but if anybody's been watching my videos, you know that I don't lay that type of juice with Boston. It's going to be a high price tag with the Bruins. So what we're going to do here is bet the over. Last 3 meetings between these teams go over, and really a lot of meetings in this series go over. The issue here is that Boston doesn't have a problem playing physical with Philadelphia. That's Philly style. But Philly has a tough time playing defense, which is Boston style. So we end up getting these sort of gritty, physical, high-scoring matchups. And the Bruins do a really good job scoring on Philadelphia. Pretty much everybody scores on Philadelphia. But in this particular series, as you mentioned, 15 goals in the last 3 meetings, at least 4 goals each time. That means we need at least a couple from Philadelphia to get the over. I think that's a better play than laying a ton of juice with the Bruins.
Okay, and for our 3rd game, we have San Jose Sharks at Los Angeles Kings. Do you think the Sharks are going to want some revenge after blowing a 3-0 series lead in the first round of the playoffs to the Kings last season?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the San Jose Sharks have probably had nightmares all off-season long about the fact that they blew a 3-0 series lead in the first round of the playoffs last year to the Los Angeles Kings, who nobody else could beat. The Kings go on to win the Stanley Cup. Funny enough, the Sharks were probably the one team that pushed the Kings the hardest, or at least, maybe them and the Blackhawks. But the Sharks, they go into the offseason, start raving about, or start ranting about, we're going to do all these changes. Everybody, we're going to trade players. We're going to, do a wholesale makeover. They bring back their head coach. Thornton's still there. Marlowe's still there. Nothing's changed for this team. So I think the only thing that they can really sort of exercise their demons with, since they didn't change the culture of the team, is to get a win against the Kings that really sent them into those nightmares in the offseason. So I think you're going to see a Sharks team that's very focused. And, the Kings are a sort of a hit-or-miss regular season team. Pretty good, but, in the playoffs they're dominant, or at least in their last 2 Stanley Cup runs over the last 3 years. In the playoffs they've been dominant. Regular season's been hit-or-miss. So I think this is a decent spot to take a San Jose Sharks team that's going to be pretty motivated in this particular spot.
Okay, so for us, Vancouver Canucks at Calgary Flames. I know you like the Flames. They had a pretty good last season on a solid 19-13 run over their last 32 games. Are the Flames your pick?
Yeah, the Flames are actually one of my sleeper picks for this season. This is another rivalry game, Vancouver versus Calgary. But I think these 2 teams are headed in different directions. Flames seemingly have turned a corner in this, we'll call it the Bob Hartley era. They've been rebuilding for a little while now, but as mentioned, strong finish down the stretch of the season last year makes me believe that could springboard them to a good start this year. Okay. One of their biggest weaknesses was goaltending. They picked up Jonas Hiller between the pipes. This guy's got some issues in the playoffs. The Flames aren't even thinking about the playoffs yet. They're just trying to get there right now. And in the regular season, we've seen Hiller perform like an all-star before. Even if he doesn't perform, to that level, compared to the scrubs that the Flames have been putting between the pipes, Hiller's definitely an upgrade. You match that with a young offensive core, lots of exciting young talent up front for this team, and then you got a Canucks team that they're probably going to be overvalued on the odds, not only in this game but many times in the early going because they got Ryan Miller in net. Well, let me tell you something about Ryan Miller. Good goaltender, but he also backstopped the Buffalo Sabres for the last few years, who were one of the worst teams in the NHL. And were the worst team last year. So Miller alone can't save them. Canucks have very little else around him, especially up front, very thin outside of the Sedins. The blue line is weak. And really, I like the Flames in this spot. I think this is it's an early season statement game for them to say that, hey, we're no longer a scrub in the Western Conference basement. And I think they're going to be replaced in that basement with the Vancouver Canucks.
Thanks, Dave. I'm going to have to keep an eye on these matches. Talk to you soon.
All right.
For SBR Picks, this is Nadia Holtz.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.